Hey, beautiful and brilliant mamas. Welcome back to For Black Mompreneurs, the podcast where we hold space for Black women who are mothers and entrepreneurs unapologetically chasing purpose and prosperity. I'm your host, Femi Lewis. Today we're diving into something that's close to my heart and absolutely essential for all of our success, celebrating our wins. So I want to begin by having you frame this conversation in a new way. If you've ever been on social media for more than 5 seconds, you've discovered that there's always an opportunity for a celebration. From a kindergarten to law school graduation, a baby reveal, a wedding, an anniversary, and my newest favorite, the prom send-off. But as entrepreneurs, how often are we celebrating and sharing our achievements with others? I have to confess that more often than not, I have been guilty of sometimes, but not always. I'm sharing, and that's a new goal, celebrating my successes always. You know, as Black women in business, we're often so focused on the next milestone or the next goal, the next challenge to overcome that we forget to pause and acknowledge how far we've already come. And today we're changing that narrative. We're talking about why celebrating achievements, both big and small, isn't just nice to do, it's necessary for our growth, our mental health, and our business success. So you know what I always say, whether you're listening while meal prepping, during your commute, or stealing a quiet moment between meetings, I want you to know that every step you've taken in your entrepreneurial journey deserves recognition. So grab your coffee, your tea, whatever else fuels you, and let's dive into why celebrating wins should be a non-negotiable part of your business strategy. So let's start here with just defining what are wins, right? What is exactly counting as a win in business? And Mama, I really want you to listen to this because I know some of you are thinking, well, I haven't hit 6 figures yet or 6,000 yet. So what do I have to celebrate? Stay with me, right? Because that's the mindset that we're looking to shift today. So first, I want you to acknowledge that the obvious ones, what I call the champagne moments, you know, those when you want to act like you're on top of the world, when you're landing that dream client or that major contract, when you're hitting a revenue milestone, whether it's your first 1,000 month or your first $100,000 year, launching a new product or service successfully, whether you're getting featured in media or winning industry awards, if you're expanding your team or moving into a new office space, or, you know, you're doing the big thing and developing strategic partnerships that are going to elevate your business. So these are the wins that make your family group chat blow up with congratulations, and they absolutely deserve celebration. But here's what I really want you to internalize, that the small wins are just as important, if not more so, because they're the building blocks of those bigger moments that you're going to have. So think about these small wins that you could have on a day-to-day or weekly basis. So think about this. You're starting out. You complete your first week of consistent social media posting. I don't know about you, but that would be a big win for me. You have a productive networking conversation. And even if it doesn't lead to an immediate success, the fact that you had it is important. You set up your business systems, whether that's organizing your client files or setting up an email sequence, or you're setting up that CRM like Honeybook that you keep putting off, but you know will help you move your business forward. Maybe you receive some positive feedback from a client, even if it's just a small thank you. If you stay consistent with your morning routine for a full week, if you learn a new skill that enhances your business, or you have the courage to raise your prices. What about when you say no to a project that doesn't align with your values or goals? That's a win too. Completing a task you've been procrastinating on. Having a day where you feel fully present with your kids and accomplished in your business. I don't know it's you, but that's the ultimate win for me. And I don't want you to forget about those personal wins that directly impact your business. So when you're able to find a way to maintain boundaries between your work and your family time, or you're asking for help when you need it, whether it's hiring a babysitter so you can work, or you're delegating tasks in your business or hiring a virtual assistant, you're working hard at overcoming imposter syndrome, and you pitch to that client or apply for a new opportunity. You begin having honest conversations with your partner about your business needs. You prioritize self-care without guilt, and you stand firm in your vision when others doubt you. I want you to remember that every time you show up authentically, every time you persist through a challenge, every time you choose to bet on yourself, that's a win worth celebrating. And I want you to remember that, because here's the big truth. If you're only celebrating when you hit the big milestone, you're missing about 95% of your journey. Because success isn't just a destination. It's a series of small victories that are going to compound over time, right? And it makes one small thing becomes a bigger thing. And when we shift our perspective to recognize those daily and weekly wins, we create a positive feedback loop that actually accelerates our success. So now that we've expanded our definition of what counts as a win, I want to talk about why celebrating these achievements isn't just feel-good fluff, right? It's not fluff at all to celebrate yourself. It's a strategic business practice. I didn't know this for a very long time, but I realized how important it is. So I want you to take a moment to understand what happens in your brain when you celebrate. When you acknowledge an achievement, your brain is releasing dopamine, that same neurotransmitter that's triggered by other rewarding experience. It doesn't just feel good. It creates pathways that make you want to repeat the behavior that led to the success. Essentially, when you celebrate wins, you're training your brain to seek out more winning behaviors. You're literally rewiring yourself for success. This is especially important for us as mompreneurs because we're constantly multitasking and can easily fall into the trap of moving from one task to the other without pausing to acknowledge our progress. And also think about this, that celebrating wins also builds what researchers have called resilience reserves. When you regularly acknowledge your achievements, you're creating a mental bank account of evidence that you can overcome challenges and succeed. This becomes crucial during those inevitable tough seasons in business and motherhood. So just think about it. When you're facing a difficult client situation or you're struggling with a new business challenge, being able to recall and feel the success of past wins gives you the confidence to keep going. You're not just hoping you can handle it. You have proof that you can. This is particularly powerful because when we often operate in environments where our capabilities are questioned or undervalued, when we start to celebrate our own wins, we're not waiting for external validation. We're creating our own source of confidence and motivation so that those moments of being questioned about who we are or undervalued or even unseen don't even matter because we're betting on ourselves and always in a moment of joy. We are celebrating who we are and what we have achieved. And that's real talk. So I also want to share with you this. Studies have also shown that people who regularly celebrate their achievements are more likely to set and achieve ambitious goals. Why is that? Because celebration makes the journey enjoyable, not just the destination. When you associate working on your business with positive emotions, you're much more likely to show up consistently and push through challenges. This is huge for mompreneurs because let's be real. Building a business while raising children is hard. And if we're not finding joy in the process, you know what's next? Burnout. So when we celebrate those wins, it makes our journey sustainable. We need a journey that is sustainable so that we can have sustainable businesses. Now, if you have a team and you celebrate these wins, it creates a positive culture that attracts and retains good people. If you're a solopreneur and you're celebrating wins, it helps you maintain the energy and enthusiasm clients and customers are drawn to. Nobody wants to work with someone who's a Debbie Downer or doesn't think with joy in their heart. They want people who are upbeat and who feel like they can win too. You know, joy is contagious and people want to work with someone who's passionate and confident about what they're doing. So let's take a second and let's talk a bit about the flip side, right? What happens when we don't celebrate our wins? And I know what some of you are thinking. I don't have time to celebrate. I've got too much to do. But I want you to realize that not celebrating is actually costing you time, energy, and success in the long run. When we don't celebrate wins, we fall into what I am thinking about, like the hamster wheel syndrome, right? You see a hamster running around and they never feel like they're in progress. Being on that hamster wheel will make you feel like you're burning out. And that's an epidemic among mompreneurs, right? We're naturally burnt out taking care of our homes and our children. We need these celebrations. Every day feels the same without them. You'll just be checking boxes, completing tasks. You're not experiencing the joy and the satisfaction that might come with building something meaningful. And this is emotional flatness, and it makes it harder to stay motivated and creative. I've seen way too many brilliant Black women burn out, not because they weren't successful, but because they never paused to acknowledge their success. They kept moving the goalposts, thinking, I'll celebrate when I hit X. But when they hit that milestone, they immediately focus on the next instead of taking that moment to do a somersaults or just cheer or go on social media and talk about yourself. And here's what I also want you to think about. Not celebrating your wins feeds into imposter syndrome. When you don't acknowledge your achievements, you start to believe they were just luck or that they don't count. And that's a dangerous cycle where you discount your abilities and hesitate to take the bold actions that would grow your business. We are fighting against societal messages that are always questioning our competence. We have seen this even in a presidential election with someone who was more than capable of running this country. And so we're telling ourselves our achievements aren't significant enough to warrant recognition. And, when I'll be completely frank, when I think about this current social and political climate, we don't have time to be second guessing ourselves, because every moment that we do, someone somewhere is working overtime to silence us. And we don't have time to be silenced when we have children to raise and legacies to create for our communities. When you don't celebrate your wins, you miss the opportunity to analyze what worked. Celebration is not just about feeling good. It's also about recognizing patterns in your success so you can easily replicate them. If you don't pause to acknowledge what led to a win, you can't strategically create more wins, and that's just real talk. And this is my last thought on the importance of wins and why you can't sleep on them. Like I always say, our children are watching us, and when we don't celebrate our achievements, we're modeling that success is not worth acknowledging. We're teaching them that there's always something more to be done, something more to achieve before you can feel proud or satisfied with what you've just done. And when we don't celebrate these wins, we become resentful, feeling like we're working hard but getting no recognition. And that affects our relationships with our partners, our children, and our clients. So now that I've shared all of that with you, definition, why it's important, what happens when you don't, I want to get to that practical part that I know you're loving. How do we build the habit of celebrating wins? Because I know some of you are thinking, this sounds great, I wouldn't know where to start. So the key is to start small and be consistent rather than waiting for some big moment to occur. There's some micro celebrations you can immediately implement today. I want you to do a daily win practice, and this is something I'm going to be working on too. At the end of each workday, I want you to write down 3 things you accomplished. They can be as simple as, I responded to all my emails, I had a great conversation with a potential client. The act of writing them down forces you to acknowledge your wins and remind yourself that they're happening daily. Maybe you could do a weekly review. Every Friday, spend 10 minutes reviewing your wins for the week. Include both personal and business achievements. And that'll help you see patterns and progress over time. I want you to create a visual representation of your monthly wins. This could be a simple list, a vision board, or even a photo collage. The key is to make your progress visible. So think about this. A lot of times at the end of the month, people are doing on social media, oh, June owes me nothing, July owes me nothing, and they put up a photo collage of all the fun things they did. That's a great monthly win celebration. So here's some little rituals that you can do to keep the momentum going, because I don't want you to miss out. Here's a small win ritual. I want you just to do a little dance in your office. Really, do a dance. I want you to text your accountability partner or your business bestie. Treat yourself to a nice cup of coffee or a tea or that green juice that you love. Take a photo to document that moment. Write a gratitude note to yourself. There's also some what I call medium win rituals. So you can share a win that you've had on social media with your community. Take yourself out for a nice lunch. Buy yourself some flowers. Maybe you could take a half day off and spend it with yourself. Or if you really want to spend time with your kids, do that. Call someone who's been supportive in your journey and share what just happened. The big win rituals. I want you to plan a special dinner with your family. Book a massage or a spa day. Invest in something for your business you've been wanting. Take a weekend trip. Host a celebration with your support network. And then I want you to, again, extend that social media. Build your celebration squad. Identify 3 to 5 people who genuinely celebrate your wins. That could be family, or it could not be. It could be other entrepreneurs, your mentors, your close friends. Share your wins regularly so that they begin to matter to you. You should be also relying on your community. Remember, in a previous podcast, I talked about the importance of community building. And if you have a community of like-minded entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs, then you have a space where people are celebrating each other's wins and creating accountability and amplifying those celebrations. I've shared this in the past that the power of building community is so that you don't feel isolated. If you can't find a community, you can always start one. Remember, I talked before about using social media and sharing those wins. I want you to be intentional about how you share those wins, though. Don't just post to post. Share it in a way that might inspire other women and create positive energy around your business. When you show up on social media in this way, you're also actively showing your target audience that you're working hard in your business, and that elevates your brand in such a huge way. So another thing that I've seen and I think is really important is to have a track and measure of what you do. Have a win journal. So I want you to keep a dedicated journal or a digital document. You record your wins. Include the date, what happened, how it made you feel, and what you learned. This becomes a powerful resource during those challenging times because guess what? With every win, there is a challenge, and that's fine. Some people love taking selfies. So take a photo of yourself every time you accomplish something you feel is significant. And if you look at it like this, you'll have a visual timeline of your growth and success. And show yourself some gratitude. Be thankful for those wins. Acknowledge the achievement and note who helped you make it possible. That deepens the positive impact and strengthens your relationships too. So I know I might have some of you listening who might still be silently telling yourself, so I have to make time to celebrate. And I'm going to tell you, bold caps, yes, you do. So just for you, I'm sharing how you can shift your mindset to making time to celebrate those wins. Because if you don't invite yourself to celebration, no one, not even you, will ever feel like what you are doing is significant. So when people are saying they don't have time, celebration doesn't have to take long. A 30-second dance, a quick text, simply I'm proud of myself counts as a celebration. If you're saying to yourself it's not that big a deal, if it moves you forward, it is a big deal. And that's real talk. You're not being dramatic. You're not being self-indulgent. You're just being strategic about your mental health and your business success. Don't tell yourself I should be further along when you've had a moment of success. Comparison is the thief of joy, and it's also the enemy of celebration. Your journey is unique. Celebrate where you are now while working toward what you want to be. And you know, some people always think about that one moment of celebration about what if I fail later? Stop that. Celebrating current wins doesn't jinx your future success. And in fact, it actually increases the likelihood of future wins because you're building confidence and positive momentum. It also provides you with the resilience to look at your setbacks as lessons, not long-term blows. So here's something that I want to also share with you. We really have an opportunity to model healthy celebration with our family, right? Our children, our spouses, and to have them support us on our journey. And this is a way for us to be teaching our kids about our business wins. So when appropriate, I would say share these wins with your children and explain in age-appropriate terms what you accomplished and why it's so important, why it matters. This helps them to understand that your world and your work is important and valuable. Every time you land a new client, have a special family dinner or a time to share that information. When you complete a big project, go out for ice cream. This helps your children see that hard work leads to positive outcomes. And model celebrating their wins. You know, show your kids how to celebrate their own achievements, both big and small. This might be a special breakfast for a good report card or a high five for cleaning their room without being asked. And most importantly, I want you to let your family know what you're working on so that they can celebrate with you when you achieve it or work through the lesson that you're learning if you don't. This creates a system of support within your own home. Sometimes you might even need to let your partner know that you need celebration to be a priority. Help them to recognize wins, create time for celebration, and make it reciprocal. Celebrate your family wins too. When your partner gets a promotion or your children masters new skill, make sure those achievements get acknowledged too. Okay, beautiful mompreneurs, as we wrap up today's episode, I want you to take a moment right now, wherever you are, and I want you to think about that one thing you've accomplished this week. Maybe it's listening to the entire podcast episode. Maybe it's showing up for your business even when you felt overwhelmed. Or maybe it's having a difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Whatever it is, I want you to acknowledge it. Say to yourself, I'm proud of myself for whatever the achievement is. And I want you to feel it. Let that pride fill your chest. So here's your homework for the this week. Choose one celebration ritual and commit to doing it every single day. Maybe it's writing down 3 daily wins. Maybe it's doing a little dance when you complete a task. Maybe it's sending a quick text to your celebration squad when something good happened. The goal isn't to add another item to your to-do list. It's to start recognizing and appreciating the amazing work you're already doing. Remember, celebrating wins isn't selfish or frivolous. It's fuel for your journey. It's evidence of your capability. It's a gift to your future self and your children. You're doing incredible work. You're building a business, raising humans, and changing the world in your own unique way. Every single step of that journey deserves recognition. I'd love to hear about your wins. So I want you to share them with me on social media using hashtag 4BlackMompreneurs or send me an email at 4BlackMompreneurs@gmail.com. Let's celebrate each other. If today's episode resonated with you, please share it with another Black mompreneur who needs to hear this message. And don't forget to subscribe or leave a review. It helps other women find the show. Next week, we're diving into purposeful motherhood and entrepreneurship. Until then, I want you to keep celebrating, keep growing, and keep believing in the incredible woman you are. This is Femi Lewis, reminding you that you're not just building a business, you're building a legacy, and every win along the way is worth celebrating. Peace.